Thousands of people have braved pouring rain and strong winds to attend a mass held by Pope Francis in the city of Tacloban in the Philippines.
And of course, as our correspondent Rupert Wingfield-Hayes was saying, the area was devastated by Typhoon Haiyan more than a year ago. The Pope has been meeting survivors on the third day of his papal visit.
Joined in the studio by Jack Valero from the organisation Catholic Voices. Jack, it's a really... We saw some of the pictures a moment ago. The weather has had a serious part to play in this. The visit actually cut short slightly.
Yes.
But nonetheless, huge crowds out. Give us a sense of the sense of anticipation that there was there.
Huge crowds, very moving. I mean, the whole trip has been built around this particular visit. You know, when the Pope saw what was happening over a year ago, he said, I must go to the Philippines, and this has grown into the whole trip to Manila and everything. But this is the centerpiece of the trip. And to see him there in the rain with a poncho, celebrating Mass, and being with the victims, you know, like a person coming to visit his family in trouble and saying, I don't have any answers, but I'm with you. That was really, really moving. People had been walking for hours and hours to attend this ceremony. The visit, unfortunately, had to be cut short because of the weather, which is, you know, part of the course. And the Pope, the people were really happy to be with him. And he said, you know, let's just have a minute of silence now to pray for all the people who died. 66,000 people died. 1 million people lost their homes. 16 million people were affected. So it's a huge thing in the Philippines.
So many people talk about the Pope's common touch and how he differs from his predecessor. And one of the comments this week related to the atrocity, the Charlie Hebdo atrocity, I haven't got a quote here exactly, but he was informally talking on the plane and in front of press, and he said if his assistant insulted his mother, he could expect a punch. Now, this kind of language and this kind of judgment is perhaps the wrong word, comment on what's happening politically is quite uncommon, isn't it, for a pope?
Well, I think he has this informal style of speaking. He just speaks his mind. He said the killings were an aberration from the very beginning, so he's been completely against it, no ifs, no buts. In the plane, he wanted to talk about the limits of freedom of expression. You know, we all believe in limits of freedom of expression. We wouldn't mock the people who had been killed in the magazine, for example. We would feel that would be beyond the pale. And so I think what he has said is that to mock people's religion is like mocking their family, their mother, and therefore it's worse than people would have thought. And you know that there are limits, and those limits also apply to religion.
The problem with this comment he made, sorry for speaking over you, the problem with this comment he made is it's how it can be interpreted. It's all very well being informal and much more prepared to speak to people on a more natural level. But by saying, if you insulted me, you can expect a punch, the way people interpret that is a defence of what happened at the Charlie Hebdo offices. Sure,
but that wasn't what he was saying, because the previous sentence was the killings were an aberration. And here I'm going to say there are limits to freedom of expression. In fact, the most interesting thing he said was freedom of expression is at the service of the common good. You know, we're building the common good. We should freely express ourselves to build that. You know, we shouldn't be trying to insult each other more. We should be trying to live together in peace. You know, he is somebody who builds peace, who has gone to the Philippines. For example, before going to the Philippines, he was in Sri Lanka, a country ravaged by war for 30 years. He's come as the man of peace, saying, yes, we can live together. Different people from different races, from different religions can live together. And this is the thing we're aiming at. And with the comments of the limits of freedom of expression, he's saying the same thing. We're trying to live together. We should build a common good. Let's think carefully about what we say. He was not talking about what should be legal or illegal, you know, but how we should behave.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Jack Valero from Catholic Voices. Just up